She was 22 years old the next day. She had spent the evening laughing, drinking, and messaging her best friend about how much she liked him. She changed her profile picture that night, glowing, happy, full of life, and he commented on it. Beautiful, very radiant. By the time her family tried to call her on her birthday, her phone was going straight to voicemail. She never came home. And the man who commented on her photo, the man she had trusted enough to leave a bar with, arm in arm, already knew exactly why. This is the story of Grace Millane, and this file has been waiting to be opened. Grace Emmy Rose. Millane was born in Essex, England in 1996. She was the youngest of 3 children, raised by her parents David and Gillian alongside her 2 older brothers, Michael and Declan. Those who knew Grace described her as sociable, warm, and endlessly creative. She was a homebird, deeply attached to her family, but she carried an adventurous spirit that was impossible to contain. She studied advertising and marketing at the University of Lincoln, graduating with a degree and a plan. Before stepping into the next chapter of her life, she wanted to see the world. She had saved for an entire year to fund a solo backpacking trip, one that would take her across continents, through new cities, into the lives of strangers who would quickly become friends. But before she left, Grace did something that tells you everything you need to know about who she was. She cut off her long hair and donated it to the Little Princess Trust, a charity that creates wigs for children with cancer. That was Grace. She was the kind of person who, even in the middle of chasing her own dreams, stopped to think about someone else. In October 2018, she said goodbye to her family and set off on her adventure. She traveled through Peru and spent 6 weeks exploring South America, sharing everything, every meal, every view, every laugh, with her family back home through constant messages and photos. By November 19, 2018, Grace had arrived in New Zealand. 11 days later, she reached Auckland, checked into a hostel called the Base Backpackers on Queen Street, and dropped her bags in a shared room. She was exactly where she wanted to be, exactly where she had worked so hard to get. She had no idea what was coming. Saturday, December 1st, 2018, Grace got ready in her hostel room, slipped into a knee-length black dress and white shoes, picked up her small handbag, and walked out the door just before 6 p.m. She had a date. She had matched with someone on Tinder, a man who seemed charming, attentive, easy to talk to. At first, Grace wasn't entirely sure about meeting up, but the conversations kept flowing, and eventually they made a plan. Drinks, somewhere in the city center. She texted her friend Amina back in England as she got ready. "I click with him so well," she wrote. "He's an oil manager. He lives in a hotel." Grace was excited. This is what traveling was supposed to feel like. New places, new people, unexpected connections. She met her date at Sky City, a large entertainment complex in the heart of Auckland. Bars, restaurants, a casino. The kind of place that's busy enough to feel safe, loud enough to feel alive. By all appearances, the evening was going well. About an hour in, they moved to a second venue, a bar called the Blue Stone Room. They sat together, talked, drank. Grace was relaxed, comfortable, but at one point, Grace got up from the table, and in that moment, her date did something strange. He picked up her handbag and began searching through it. A small detail, easy to miss, easy to dismiss. Nobody said anything. Just after 9:30 p.m., the two of them left the Blue Stone Room together. CCTV cameras captured them walking down the street, arm in arm. Grace was smiling. That footage was the last confirmed sighting of Grace Millane alive. What happened next took place behind a closed hotel room door, and it would take investigators, forensic experts, and an entire trial to piece together the truth of that night. But before we get there, we need to talk about the man Grace walked out with, because he was not who he said he was. He had never been who he said he was. Sunday, December 2nd, 2018. Grace Millane turned 22 years old. Back in Essex, her family woke up ready to celebrate. Messages, calls, the kind of birthday contact that had been constant throughout her whole trip. Grace had been keeping them updated on everything, every city, every hostel, every new friend. But on this day, her phone rang out. Messages went unread. Her two phones went straight to voicemail. Her brother Declan described it immediately as a red flag. Grace was a homebird. She wouldn't just go silent, not on her birthday, not without a word. Her parents held on for a few days, hoping for a message, hoping there was a simple explanation. Maybe she had stayed somewhere without signal. Maybe she had met people and gotten caught up in the moment. By December 5th, they could no longer wait. They contacted Auckland police and reported their daughter missing. Police reached out to the base backpackers hostel. The confirmation was chilling. Grace had not returned on the night of December 1st. Her belongings were still in her room. Her bed had not been slept in. Initially, police treated the case as a standard missing person inquiry. There was no immediate evidence of foul play. People go off-grid sometimes. Travelers make impulsive decisions. But then investigators began pulling CCTV footage from across the city. And within a short time, they had a clear picture of Grace's movements on that Saturday evening and a clear image of the man she had been with. They found him faster than he expected, because on the very night Grace disappeared, she had updated her Facebook profile picture, a photo of herself, happy, glowing, alive, and underneath it, a comment. Beautiful, very radiant. The person who left that comment was the same man captured on camera leaving the Bluestone room with Grace. His name was Jesse Kempson, and he was staying at the City Life Hotel in Auckland, the same hotel he had told Grace he lived in. He had also posted something else that night, a longer message, talking about being sorry for his mistakes, his arrogance, his selfishness. At the time, no one knew what that meant. They would soon find out. Jesse Kempson was 26 years old. Born in Wellington, raised across multiple homes after his parents separated, partially brought up by his grandparents. By his mid-20s, he was largely estranged from most of his family. Everyone who had ever known Jesse described him the same way. A pathological liar, not the kind of person who stretches the truth occasionally or exaggerates to impress. The kind of person who constructs entire false realities and maintains them calmly and convincingly until they collapse. He told people he was a cousin of a famous All Blacks rugby player. He told people he was dying of cancer. He told employers he had qualifications he didn't have. He told landlords he had income he didn't have. One former landlord recalled that Jesse had claimed to be a professional softball player, signed to New Zealand's national team, the Black Sox, and that he was waiting on contract money to pay his rent. After 8 weeks of excuses, the landlord contacted the Black Sox management directly. Jesse had no connection to the team whatsoever. He had been evicted from multiple properties, lost multiple jobs, left a trail of people who had trusted him, and been burned. His last job before meeting Grace had been in telephone sales. He was fired for lying. On the same day he was dismissed, the very same day, he matched with Grace Millane on Tinder. He told Grace he was an oil manager. He told her he lived in a hotel, which was technically true because the City Life hotel rent was being covered by state benefits, not the high-flying career he had invented. Grace had no way of knowing any of this. She had no way of knowing that the charming, attentive man across the table from her that night had spent his entire adult life deceiving everyone around him, that the warmth he projected was a performance, that behind the easy smile was something cold and calculating. She had no way of knowing that she would not leave that hotel room alive.
Once Jesse Kempson was identified, police moved quickly. They obtained CCTV from across Auckland that tracked Grace and Jesse's movements throughout the evening of December 1st. They secured the Facebook comment. They located Jesse at the City Life Hotel. What they found inside the hotel room confirmed their worst fears. Grace Millane had been murdered. Jesse Kempson had killed her. And then, while her body remained in his room, he had gone on more Tinder dates the following day. He had also purchased a large suitcase. Grace's body was found on December 9th, 2018, buried in a forested area in the Waitakere Ranges, west of Auckland. She had been placed inside the suitcase and carried there. Jesse Kempson was arrested and charged with murder. His trial began in November 2019. He pleaded not guilty, claiming Grace's death had been accidental, that it had occurred during consensual activity. The prosecution dismantled that claim piece by piece, presenting forensic evidence, digital evidence, and the testimony of other women who had been with Jesse Kempson, and described frightening, violent behavior. On November 22nd, 2019, the jury found Jesse Kempson guilty of murder. He was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum non-parole period of 17 years. New Zealand's Prime Minister at the time, Jacinda Ardern, made a rare and deeply personal public statement following the verdict. On behalf of New Zealand, I want to apologize to Grace's family. Your daughter should have been safe here, and she wasn't, and I'm sorry for that. Those words were carried around the world. Grace's father, David Millane, delivered a victim impact statement of extraordinary composure and dignity. He described his daughter as a young woman full of life, full of love, full of promise, and spoke of a family forever changed by her absence. In the years following Grace's murder, her case became a turning point in the global conversation about safety on dating apps. Tinder and other platforms introduced new identity verification measures, emergency safety features, and background check options. Changes that Grace's family actively campaigned for. Her death changed things. Her family made sure of it. Grace Millane left home with a heart full of curiosity and a willingness to trust the world. She donated her hair before she left. She sent photos from every city. She messaged a friend from a bar stool, excited about a stranger who made her laugh. She deserved to come home. The file on Grace Millane is closed in a legal sense. Jesse Kempson is behind bars. Justice, in its imperfect way, was served. But Grace's family carries an open wound that no verdict can close. And the question her case forces all of us to ask about the strangers we trust, the profiles we believe, the safety we assume, that question doesn't go away. Some files get closed. Some truths stay with you. If this case moved you, if you believe these stories deserve to be told, subscribe to the Unseen Files. Every week, we open another file that was never meant to stay closed. Grace was the first. She won't be the last. The truth is rarely documented, but we find it